Hello, my name is Anthony Gaspin, and this is my physics project. You are currently seeing me play the game Half-Life Alyx. In the game, you play as
Oh,
The Alex fans.
in the beginning, you are caught and captured by the Combine Soldier aliens, and then freed by your pal Russell, who helps
I'm actually pretty busy looking for my father,
The
Eli
Eli
Vance.
fans. Yes.
Once you find your dad, you learn that the Combine have a large vault in the sky. Don't ask how, let's just say alien magic. Ha ha. That holds a super weapon that you later assume to be Gordon Freeman. Sometime later, you finally reach the vault and you find out that it's not Gordon Freeman, it's actually the G Man. And then some story stuff happens, blah, blah, blah. You save your dad from dying in the future, but I don't know. That's not what we're focusing on here. We have some bottles to drop. And in the clip that you're about to see, I'm going to drop a glass bottle off of a building. And I'm going to be measuring to see if the gravitational acceleration is the same as the gravitational acceleration as on Earth. Basically, all we're going to need for that is the distance and the time. And I'm able to see how high this tower is that I dropped it from by stacking 55-gallon drums on top of each other, which you're seeing me do now, and then taking their pixel measurements and converting it into their real world measurements. All right, that's how we're getting to the next barrel.
Alex? Alex, you still there?
This is me getting the pixel measurements for everything. And now I'll be showing you everything, but first I need to erase my window. Starting off, I found out that one drum is 75 pixels, and doing a quick Google search that shows that one drum is about 880 millimeters. And there are 6 barrels stacked on top of each other, as you can see here, so taking 75 times 6 gets us a total of 450 pixels. Now we take the 450 pixels and we need to add the numbers that are on the top and bottom that we didn't completely measure, which those numbers were 17 and 51. And we get a total of 518 pixels. Now we take those 518 pixels because we need to convert those into millimeters. We need to multiply 518 pixels by 880 millimeters and then divide that by 75 pixels. And then the pixels unit cancel each other out. That's why we're left with millimeters. And the total that we get is about 6,770.86 millimeters, which converting that into meters is basically about 6 meters with some extra numbers. Now, in order to get our acceleration, we first need to find our velocity, which means we need to take our about 6 meters and divide it by 1.3 seconds. And I got 1.3 seconds by looking at the timestamps of which the bottles fell and just subtracting those numbers. And the velocity we get is 4.675 meters per second. And now, in order to get the acceleration of that, we need to take 4.675 meters per second and divide that by our time again, which was 1.3 seconds. I'm now realizing I should have sped this up a little bit more, which gets us to 3.956 meters per second per second. And I looked at this and I was like, that's not what I expected. So I decided to double check my math using a very unconventional way of checking acceleration, which is just taking your distance and then dividing it by your time squared because it's just meters per second squared. Either way, we got the exact same number, so the math wasn't wrong. And this needs to be 9.8 meters per second. So basically, this next part that you're about to see was recorded after I had recorded everything else because I had forgot to do it inside of the game. So now we're moving into MS Paint. Alright, so I did a really bad job at explaining this the first time, so I'm going to try again here. Since our numbers were wrong, I'm going to try to find how much time it would have taken if it was normal Earth's gravity, which its acceleration would be 9.8 meters per second. And having 9.8 meters per second be our acceleration, we now need the equation to find acceleration, which is velocity final minus velocity initial, which in this case is 0, over our time. But now we have two variables that we can't solve for. But luckily, the equation for velocity is displacement over time, which we already went over. So if we just plug that into the equation, we have our displacement over time minus 0 over time again. And then having our displacement be 6.07786 meters, we put that over our time, which we need to find our time now. And the way I did that was I did some calculator math, which was doing some equations I'm not even sure was ethical, and I essentially got the time 0.78 seconds. And now plugging all of these numbers in, the 6 divided by the time divided by the other time got 9.9 something. So it was almost there basically, but the time that it should have taken was 0.78 seconds. And it should have looked like this. So, bad physics.